We're taking a look at the honorable mentions, and we're first going to start out with Kyle Pitts of the Atlanta Falcons. Last year he was an honorable mention. This year he's an honorable mention. So it's just mainly of how they possibly are using him. It just seems like his first year he was electrifying, and I just feel like they really haven't given him the ball enough. Like I said, it might be the scheme. And as well, I mean, he's definitely had some injuries, but still a really young tight end that can really become a superstar in his own right. He might just need another place, possibly, or with Michael Penix here, maybe they will definitely get him the ball a lot more. Yeah, he's 24 years old, 4 years in the league, 1 year, $10.87 million left on his rookie deal. Played 17 games. He had 47 receptions for 602 yards, 4 touchdowns, 35.4 yards per game, 272 yards after the catch, and 4 broken tackles. Again, I want to see him obviously get to a level of superstardom. I also want to see him in the postseason. I definitely cheer on for him. I think he was such a high draft pick. It would be a shame for him to be a draft bust. So I don't know. I think he can excel, but can he excel in Atlanta's scheme? I'm not sure. I still have a lot of upside for him, and I'm excited to see what he does. So we do have Cole Kmet of the Chicago Bears. He was actually number 7 last year. Now he's honorable mention. Honestly, he dropped down because of the numbers. He is a reliable tight end. He did play 17 games this year, so nothing with that. I think just the ability of his numbers going down, and that may well be because they have a lot of weapons out there. It's a lot of sharing the ball. So can he get enough targets next year and try to jump up? I could say, yeah, I think he has a good potential to him. He's still young. He still has the ability of being a super important piece to this team. So, again, it's not atrocious numbers. I just would like to see him have it more. And again, tight ends definitely have surged in terms of production and in terms of who's really good and who's not. So overall it's a hard position to play in itself. There's a lot of things you got to do, and there's a lot of guys that are competitive out there, but Cole Kmet has some potential. He's 26 years old, 5 years in the league, 3 years, $30 million, 17 games played, 47 receptions for 474 yards, 4 touchdowns, 27.9 yards per game with 181 yards after the catch and a broken tackle. So again, I'm excited to see what he does. I really like the Bears offense. I think the Bears can be really good next year. So I'm excited for that and excited for him. Honorable mention, Mike Gesicki, who honestly at one point was potential top 10, potential honorable mention. Definitely his numbers were really bad last year. And then or 2023, 2024. But this past year, he definitely had a better season. He definitely got more involved. I feel like Joe Burrow got him the ball enough to where he was productive and he had some great numbers. So good on him. 29 years old, 7 years in the league, 3 years, $25.5 million. 17 games played, 65 receptions, 665 yards, 2 touchdowns, 39.1 yards per game, 1 fumble, and 245 yards after the catch. So, yeah, good season. I hope to see more of him this year. Okay, next up is Jake Ferguson of the Dallas Cowboys. Yeah, honestly, pretty productive. Does get involved in the offense, especially with what they got, especially with CD Lamb's presence and whatnot. So, Dak does get him the ball. I think he does get He's an underrated tight end. I think just based on the numbers don't seem so flashy, but he's a great contact tight end. He's really athletic. He's able to find some openings and for Dak to kind of get him the ball, especially in screens and obviously when there is a lot of pressure coming, he's a reliable guy. So overall, Jake Ferguson, 26 years old, 3 years in the league, 1 year, $3.4 million, 14 games played, 59 receptions for 494 yards, 35.3 yards per game. He did have 4 fumbles, 309 yards after the catch, and 6 broken tackles. So fumbles definitely can definitely decrease absolutely, but overall, yeah, not a bad year. Definitely relevant. Definitely honorable mention. Next is Tucker Kraft of the Green Bay Packers. Yeah, I mean, young tight end definitely has a lot of potential to be a lot better next year. It's another weapon for Jordan Love to go to. Yeah, I mean, like I said, Green Bay's got youth. They have the potential of being pretty good in the NFC. So overall, having a Tucker Kraft is going to benefit them tremendously. Tucker Kraft, 24 years old, 2 years in the league, 2 years, $2.75 million. He did have 17 games that he played. 50 receptions for 707 yards, 7 touchdowns, 41.6 yards per game, 1 fumble, 456 yards after the catch, and 9 broken tackles. He is definitely a steamroller. The game that he played in the playoffs against the Eagles, he had 5 receptions for 26 yards. So, again, can he be better? Absolutely. He's still super young, though, so I expect the ceiling to be high with him. And Green Bay is lucky to have another decent tight end. I think he could definitely be a star. Okay, next up, we do have Dalton Schultz of the Houston Texans. He was actually number 10 last year. He's now an honorable mention. Just based on the talent that we have at tight end, definitely some guys have just kind of stepped up a lot more. And the numbers were okay. Not too flashy, but again, Dalton Schultz is very productive. He is a reliable guy, especially for CJ Stroud when he doesn't get anything down the field. With the Nico Collins, with a healthy Tank Dell. So or even trying to dump it to Joe Mixon, you're gonna have Dalton Schultz there as like a comfort blanket, and he's been great. Definitely very, very reliable type tight end. So 29 years old, 7 years in the league, 2 years, $23 million, 17 games played, 53 receptions for 532 yards. He did have 2 touchdowns, 31.3 yards per game, 214 yards after the catch. In the playoffs, he played the 2 games. He had 6 receptions for 86 yards, 43 yards per game, and 23 yards after the catch. So good on him. Definitely deserving of being on this countdown. And yeah, hopefully he can come back up. Next is honorable mention Evan Ingram, who was actually a top five tight end with his 100 plus receptions with the Jacksonville Jaguars. I mean, why did he drop down so bad? This league it's honestly always going, right? And I think, injuries happen and injuries are detrimental because you leave the game for a little bit and some guys are going to step up, some guys are going to continue to produce, and guys that weren't mentioned are going to get mentioned because of that production. So, his health was a big issue last year, and I believe that he'll go back to himself. I do believe it if he stays healthy. He's in a new team, as on the Broncos now with Bo Nix, who is a really smart QB. I think he's going to definitely get him involved, and I think Evan Ingram is going to be a huge key piece to a Denver Broncos team. Their wide receiver core is average at best, so they're going to lean towards Evan Ingram, and I think he's going to do wonders for this team. So, yeah, Evan Ingram, 30 years old, 8 years in the league, 2 years, $23 million signed to Denver, 9 games played, 47 receptions, 365 yards and a touchdown. 40.6 yards per game, 1 fumble, and 150 yards after the catch. I do believe he'll stay healthy. He can definitely go back to top 10. We got a guy that's probably going to get affected, or he might have the same type of numbers next year because he is sharing the load with Pat Fryermuth in Pittsburgh. Jonnu Smith, I think, is a good signing for Pittsburgh. It's kind of a what are they going to do with that? Are they going to do a two tight end sets or whatnot? We'll see how it goes. Obviously, it's on the up and up, and we'll definitely see what Pittsburgh decides to do. They got Aaron Rodgers, and I think he'll definitely get Jonnu Smith involved as much he'll try to get Pat Fryermuth involved. So it's a good thing going here. I think Jonnu Smith had a tremendous year, and yeah, I'm excited to see what he does. 29 years old, 8 years in the league. He did sign 2 years, $16 million with Pittsburgh. 17 games played, 88 receptions for 884 yards, 8 touchdowns, 52 yards per game, 2 fumbles, 510 yards after the catch, 8 broken tackles for a Pro Bowl. So very well deserved. I love that he's a Pro Bowler. I'm excited for him. We'll see how he does in Pittsburgh. I'm sure the numbers can decline and probably will decline with as much as Aaron Rodgers likes sharing the ball. So we'll see how it goes. Jonnu Smith, though, has been really, really productive with Miami. Cade Otton of the Tampa Bay Bucks. Definitely a guy that I loved seeing the growth from him. I love seeing his process and progression through the seasons that he's had in the 3 years he's been in the league. Yeah, I mean, they got him, and it just seems like Tampa Bay is just making the right moves, man, to just try to contend. Whether Baker is the answer for a Super Bowl team or not is really up for debate. It's up for discussion because they've gotten to the wild card. They just need to figure out how to get past it, past the divisional at least, because again, wild card divisional, that's great and all, but you're going to need to get to the conference championship games, and you're going to have to see what you're made out of in terms of getting to the big game. So overall, Kate Otten is a really good player. I think that's going to get a pretty good extension for him. He's 26 years old, 3 years in the league, 1 year, $3.65 million. 14 games played, 59 receptions, 600 yards for 4 touchdowns, 42.9 yards per game, 2 fumbles, 311 yards after the catch, and 6 broken tackles. The wild card game against the Commanders, 2 receptions for 32 yards. He really was kind of a non-factor in that game, but overall, he has been solid, and he's been a good presence for him. It's another weapon that adds to Tampa, and yeah, I mean they got a solid team, so we'll see what he does. He definitely can be the potential of a top 10 guy. Last honorable mention is going to be Zach Ertz of the Washington Commanders. Honestly, a revival of his career. Obviously, he was in Philadelphia for a long time and had some really productive seasons. Came to Washington, and I believe Jaden Daniels definitely relied on him a lot during the passing with the passing game and whatnot. So Zach Ertz came to took the challenge up and really did solidify a rebirth of his career, and that's always awesome to see, right? So Zach Ertz, though, this year was very productive for this team. Very much a huge influence on the offense and probably of Jaden Daniels, man. Um, but yeah, Zach Ertz, he's 34, 12 years in the league, 1 year, $6.25 million. 17 games played, 66 receptions, 654 yards, 7 touchdowns, 38.5 yards per game, 1 fumble, and 187 yards after the catch. The 3 games that he played, obviously they got to the NFC Championship game. He had 18 receptions for 155 yards, a touchdown, 51.7 yards per game, and 39 yards after the catch. He was 17th in comeback player of the year. So again, I love seeing it. I love seeing stories. I love seeing athletes come back and be productive and be extremely reliable to a team. And Zach Ertz has been that. So I'm excited to see what he does, and I'm excited to see how he furthers his career, especially with his career dwindling down now. So Commanders are gonna definitely be competitive, and I want to see what he does.